Hello dear Craftworldians, Aleksandra is here with you and welcome to the second video from Base's exercise tutorial series. Today we're painting ancient ruins, and first phase to start with will be underpainting. Colors I'm using in this phase are crimson red and yellow ochre. I'm applying these tones in technique called wet blending by having colors mix on the model directly while still being wet. These bays have a lot of deeper details and recesses, and it is important to cover it all up with paint in this stage. We don't want to have primer visible in our deepest shadows. Also, brush I recommend using is longer bristle, 1 or 2 brush size, to have enough of water and pigments loaded for easier application and wet blending. Push and pull pigments with your bristle, focusing on having lighter tones on the upper side of the base and darker tones at the bottom. At this stage, we're using underpainting to overlay the main volumes of the base as well as to set the ambience for the topic. Once again, I'm using techniques we teach to set the narrative, to speak with the viewer, color-wise and details-wise. As colors mix, I'm getting gradient of tonal variations between these two paints, slowly building volume overall. I did load my brush with paint and water, but pay attention. I diluted paint enough to be easily movable on the base and easily thinned, especially over the fine details like those ornaments. If needed, repeating tones as they dry, it is okay. In this phase, we are also exploring the sculpt. Since these bays have a lot of deep details as well as objects overlapping, I felt like adding even deeper shadows. I will darken the crimson red and desaturate it a bit with emerald green. I like the tonal saturation, but since there is a lot of strongly saturated tonal variations between red and yellow already, I need some shadows to differentiate and I would like to push contrast a bit further. I will add these shades using thin layers of my mix between crimson and emerald, applying it by glazing over deepest shadows as well as some of the details I would like to have pop out more. When satisfied with volumes, layering midtones can start. I want to have these midtones overlap over previously set tones of underpainting phase. These midtones should be diluted with enough water to make the paint thin and easy for application. By having paint layer thin, it would reflect the color underneath through this layer, having more interactions between the tones as well as better blending. In this step, I am using clear yellow ochre, but if I notice stronger, or better said rougher gradient between my underpainting and midtones, I can easily smooth it up by mixing just a bit of crimson red with this yellow ochre and repairing the transitions. Use your brush length to cover bigger surfaces of flat areas. And use the tip of your brush to paint up some of the edges and finer details of the base. These ruins are from very warm climate. I see them as an ancient Egyptian ruins deep in the desert areas, having the strong red shadows from the sun and reflections of the sand, and warm yellow lights from these orange, very light stones. This ornament on the bigger stone is perfect for some magic infusion. And don't get me wrong, these ornaments and details are much more Celtic looking, so it could be definitely painted as some colder gray stone, having some bluish variations between the perfectly green meadow, or Nordic ruins of icy cold ambience under rainy, grim weather. Still, we wanted to represent different color schemes and ideas, approaches through these exercises, so I decided for a desert area representing it with these warm tones. Desert areas can be represented through different tones also, but I will leave that for some other tutorial. Here I'm focusing on lesser areas of stone shined by the stronger lights. With this, I'm defining more of the detail volumes of the sculpt, describing it to the viewer. Once again, I'm using the thin paint layers and have them overlap over previously painted areas, having it cover less and less of surface as it goes lighter. As it goes to finer details, I'm using more and more the tip of my brush because as I'm going to the final stage of highlighting, I am even more freehanding the details that I want to be popped out more. Depending of the sculpt, if the details are deeper, application of color will be easier because you can use the length of your bristle also to leave the paint on the surface, but if the details are a bit hollow or very fine, you will need to really sketch them nicely with the tip of your brush, leaving pigments as you direct your brush on the model itself. I'm focusing having the strongest light on the top areas of the stone, having it slowly spread all over the details, giving them more definition. Strong lights also affect some of the edges of the fine details and ornaments I have on this base. That will boost up the contrast on the ornaments themselves and have them more visible. If I didn't mention this already, I am lightening up the yellow ochre with vanilla white. And let's paint this powder-infused ornament. And first, to start with, I will paint it with clear white paint, having the area that will glow with powder being prepared for my glaze of paint. Why I am painting it in white? It is because it will help me have the color that go over this white, overlapping, it will be more saturated and it will glow more. Be careful to be precise in this step, because with having this power infused stone glowing, the light of the glow will spread all over, and we want to keep focus on this ornament to have it visible. So if this white freehand or white paint over the ornament is fine and nice, it will be the most visible place and the most saturated when we glaze the power color afterwards. Having the green being complementary color to red, it will give most of the contrast if I have this power, and it will be more visible if I have this power painted as green. So I will do that. First, I will apply the layer of fluorescent green tone over the white ornament, the ornament I previously painted with white paint. If more layers are needed for this paint to be visible, let the first layer dry and then add more layers. When that is done, thin down the fluorescent green paint with some water, making it diluted and having thin layer for the next step. Next step is glazing this color around the ornament that is power infused. It will overleap over all painting that we done previously, and it will kind of shine green. It will be like a filter over this area, and it will show that this power infused ornament is actually shining. You can do that and place this light over the tiny stones around and a bit on the stone that is right across, having this ambience fulfilled and give more story and definition to the piece itself. That would be all, folks. I hope you all enjoyed one more exercise tutorial, and both Marko and I are looking forward to see your next exercises. Share them with us on Discord in the work in progress and finished work channel. Share it on social medias and tag us using hashtags Craftworld Patreons, Craftworldians, underpaintingminis, and overlapping layers. You can use hashtags Craftworld Exercise as well. Until the next one, bye bye!